everyone, I'm Katie, fire prevention educator with Kawartha Lakes Fire Rescue Service, and your host to Jump into Fire Safety with Katie, Electrical Edition. Today, we're diving deep into the world of electrical safety. Let's get charged up with knowledge to keep our homes safe, shall we? Volts, amps, watts. What does it all mean? Electricity can be confusing. Learn the differences between these three electricity units and how they relate to keeping electrical outlets in your home safe. In this episode of Learn Something New by NFPA Journal, you'll learn about hazards such as overloading electrical outlets or receptacles and when to replace outlets.
When we look at a typical household receptacle and the appliances that plug into them, it's important to first understand the electrical units of measurement at play. Volts, amps, and watts are three units often used when discussing electricity. You've likely heard the terms used before: a 9-volt battery, a 60-watt light bulb. But what are the differences between them? Well, when you're looking at an electrical circuit, which is the path through which charged particles like electrons flow, it can help to think of the electrons like water molecules flowing through a pipe. In this analogy, voltage is often compared to water pressure because it provides a measurement of how forcefully electrons are pushed through the circuit. Our next unit, amperage, is sort of like the volume of water molecules passing through the pipe. So amps measure how many electrons are flowing past a given point in a circuit over 1 second. Finally, we have watts, which are a unit of power that you get by multiplying volts by amps. A 60-watt light bulb, for example, draws about half an amp of current and has a voltage of 120. And 120 times 1/2 is 60. There are also joules, ohms, and other relevant units, but we won't get into those. So getting back to receptacles, a typical household receptacle can handle about 15 amps of current being drawn from it. NFPA's National Electrical Code requires not exceeding 80% of that, so 12 amps. While that may have been easy to hit, say 30 years ago, when appliances used more energy because they were less efficient, today it's become increasingly difficult. This power strip with 5 items plugged in is only drawing about 3 amps of current. What is a more significant concern for electrical safety specialists these days are outlets that may be old or have experienced excessive wear, in which the prongs of cell phone chargers, kitchen appliances, and other devices no longer fit snugly. So what does it mean when that happens? And what should you do about it? Here's NFPA Senior Electrical Content Specialist Dean Austin with more info.
Receptacles have manufacturer specifications such as conductor size, conductor type, and also the distance between the prongs or the contacts inside the little holes in the receptacle. Those are created so that the tension pinches on the prongs of the vacuum cleaner plug. And so when that tension is on there and everything works great, the vacuum cleaner plug stays in the receptacle and works great. As the receptacle becomes more frequently used, as it becomes older, the spring tension on those contacts becomes less and less, which means that current is increasing, which means heat is increasing, which could result in a failure. Hopefully not a catastrophic failure such as a fire or the receptacle melting, but a failure of the receptacle, such as the vacuum cleaner maybe doesn't always work. It just kind of comes on and quits and comes on and quits, or the plug falls out. So if the plug of the vacuum cleaner falls out of the receptacle, then you should have that replaced. That needs to be replaced by a qualified individual. This will help to prevent failures. It will also help to prevent potential problems with your equipment. So if it starts falling out, that is telling you that that receptacle is worn out and needs to be replaced.
Perhaps the best illustration of how dangerous loose-fitting receptacles can be came just last year, when firefighters in Massachusetts had to warn teenagers not to participate in a dangerous online trend that involved tapping a penny onto prongs partially inserted into an electrical outlet. Now, all this is not to say that overloading receptacles isn't possible, and it's something that should still be carefully considered. Some devices, like a table saw, still draw currents over 10 amps, meaning you wouldn't want to plug anything except that one device into an outlet. And as always, linking power strips together, sometimes called daisy chaining, is never safe.
As we learned in the video, electrical safety starts with proper installation. If you hire someone to do your electrical work, by law, it must be a licensed electrical contractor. The Electrical Safety Authority, or ESA, look for the 7-digit ECRA ESA license number. It shows who can legally do electrical work in Ontario. Electrical work can be incredibly complex and dangerous. Homeowners have the option to DIY electrical work in the home, but if done incorrectly, it can lead to property damage and put loved ones in danger. ESA always recommends hiring a professional, as they have the equipment, training, and expertise to do electrical work safely. If buying or selling, you can ask your local licensed electrical contractor to do an assessment of your home's electrical system. This is different than a home inspection because it just focuses on the electrical. Purchase electrical products that have a recognized Canadian approval mark. It will be on the product label or in the description. It shows that the product was tested and meets safety standards. We're going to jump right in to extension cord safety. Make sure you safely use the right extension cord for your needs. Check the power capacity of your cord to be sure it's the same or greater than the item you're planning to plug in. Don't make do with lower capacity cords. Be sure to use a heavy-duty extension cord for electrical power tools. Use grounded or 3-prong cords and never remove the grounding pin from the plug. It's there to protect you. Throw out old 2-prong extension cords hanging around. Don't string multiple extension cords together. It is unsafe and will reduce their power capacity, so your electronic tools or gadgets won't work properly. Extension cords should not be used as long-term power sources. If you need ongoing power, hire a licensed electrical contractor to install permanent wiring and outlets. Do not staple or nail extension cords in place. It can damage the cord. Only purchase electrical products from reputable sources and retail outlets. Look at the fine details of the product information. Typos may be a sign of a cheap or counterfeit product. Preventing electrical shocks. According to the ESA, most Ontarians say they've received a shock. Although you might brush off a little zap from a toaster, even low voltage shocks can have a serious long-term effects, such as memory loss, anxiety, and pins and needles. Kids are especially curious and are natural explorers who get their hands on everything, which puts them at risk for shock. On average, more than 110 kids under 15 end up in the emergency department each year in Ontario due to an electrical injury. More than half are under the age of 5. Watch these videos to find out what happens to your body when you receive an electrical shock.
There's no such thing as a safe electrical shock. Even if it just feels like a little zap or buzz from plugging in the toaster or your phone charger. It may not leave a mark, but you could have long-term after effects. Electricity isn't all bad. It keeps our homes heated and our lights on. Static electricity can make your clothes stick together and your hair stand up. It's even moving inside us, helping our brain send signals to the rest of our body. We call this human voltage. It happens when you yawn, smile at a good joke, and flex those muscles in the mirror. But when electricity is introduced from an outside source, your system's balance is interrupted, like a circuit breaker being tripped. Whether you're an experienced electrician installing a new lighting system or a curious toddler poking an outlet, electricity travels through the body until it finds the fastest way out to the ground. What does that journey look like? It all depends on your body's makeup. Electricity moves easily through nerves and muscle, but not as easily through bone and fat. The longer it lingers and tries to find its exit point from the body, the higher the likelihood of serious injury and possibility of long-term after effects, like numbness, pins and needles, memory loss, and chronic pain, even anxiety or nightmares. The majority of Ontarians have reported having had a low-voltage shock. Perhaps you are one of them. So, what can you do to protect yourself and loved ones? Be cautious when working with or around electrical equipment. Hire only licensed electrical contractors for electrical work. And don't brush off a shock, even if you think it's a mild one. Seek medical attention if you or someone close to you receives a shock. Visit esasafe.com for more information.
Excuse me, Dan, but you should never plug a major appliance into an extension cord. Good job, Dan. Damaged cords can erupt into sparks and cause a fire. Use light bulbs with the correct wattage and fix damaged cords. That's great, Dan. Never place anything that can burn over a lamp. Good job, Dan. Now, stay safe. Life isn't a cartoon. There are thousands of electrical fires each year. Don't be a doofus. Learn more about preventing fires at nfpa.org.
I have with me here Ava, our co-op student at the Lindsay Fire Station, here to talk about 7 tips from the Electrical Safety Authority.
Hi everyone, I'm Ava, and I'm going to talk about the 7 safety tips. The first step would be to replace missing or broken outlet cover plates immediately. Outlet covers create a barrier between people and exposed wires. The second step would be to install tamper-resistant receptacles to protect younger children from shock. They have special shutters that cover the plug slots and help prevent objects like little fingers going into the outlet. Number 3 is to keep cords away from little hands and mouths. Small kids often want to explore new things by putting them inside their mouths. Number 4 is to teach older children how to stay safe around electricity. You can do this by never overload outlets by plugging in too many cords. Always use an approved power bar that has a surge protection instead. Don't yank cords from the wall. This can damage the appliance, the cord, and the outlet. You can also visit eSmart Kids for tips, games, and activities. Step 5 is to check all your cords. Replace any frayed or damaged cords and only use extension cords temporarily. They are prone to cracking and fraying, which can lead to a shock or fire. Step 6. Install ground fault circuit interrupters, which have a reset button in any room with water, like bathrooms, kitchens, laundry. Water and electricity are a lethal mix, so GFCIs help you protect from shock. Step 7 is to hire a licensed electrical contractor if you need any electrical work done in your home. Look for the 7-digit ECRA or ESA license number.
And there you have it. Jump into fire safety with Katie. Electrical Edition. I hope these electrical safety tips empower you to keep your home safe and sound. Until next time, stay charged up with knowledge and stay safe. If you'd like more information, you can visit the Kawartha Lakes Fire Rescue Service social media accounts, as well as the City of Kawartha Lakes website, which can be located at www.kawarthalakes.ca/fire.